Hey, what's going on, guys? Check out this box. This is from Hobby Mio, a relatively new hobby brand out of China. They wanted to send me some test products to try out, so that's what we're going to be doing here today, as well as a new kit I know is in here as well too. Other than that, I'm not sure exactly what's in the box, so it's going to be a surprise for both you and I. I know they are also making some different tools and supplies and stuff as well too, so yeah, we'll just kind of see what's all in here. Okay, so first off, this is cool, and we'll take a closer look at everything here in just a second, but this looks like a decal binder for your decals, basically is what this looks like. We'll take a closer look at that here in just a second. So there's quite a lot in here. I was actually not expecting them to send quite this much, but there is quite a lot in here, so lots of stuff to check out there. Cutting mat as well too, which does look very cool. And let's see here. The main thing is the kit here. You guys can't see. There we go. And this looks like a master book. So this is maybe talking about the products. So a book about the products. So that'll be useful. So we'll check that out. And then this big thing here would be the kit, which I believe. Toss that to the side carefully. The kit is not out yet. This is just a very early, basically kind of prototype. Well, all right. So after some surgery, we can finally get out of the box here. This is very cool. Check that out, guys. So this is the Night of Dark Sky Non-Zero Studios original mecha series. So it's the original design model kit here, and it has a full inner frame. It looks like basically kind of what would be similar to a master grade kit from Bandai, and I'm guessing the size is probably going to be close to that as well too, but it is looking pretty cool, and some really nice artwork on that as well too. So I mean, just the packaging of it, the design, everything looks great. So I'll do a full unboxing review of this for you guys very soon. Probably I'll start work on that later today. But for the rest of this video, let's just go ahead and focus on these supplies, getting a look at some of these, and I'll let you guys know my first impressions. Alright guys, so getting everything unpacked, as you can see there's a lot of stuff to get through. I won't be able to demonstrate everything in this video. I'll just kind of show you all that was included, and then I'll work some demonstrations of the products into a couple of upcoming videos for you guys. But for now too, I also just want to take a look at this printed material that was included. So in here is the master book. This would be basically a catalog and some details about some of their products. So we'll take a quick look through that, as well as the new products list. So this is just kind of some more newer stuff added in there as well. And you got a cute cat there on a hobby workstation. And then getting into the contents, this is mostly in Chinese, although we have a little bit of English, which should just help me along, and I can kind of tell what's going on in the pictures as well too. But first of all, we just have some durable sandpaper, which comes in a few different grades. As you guys can see, it looks like from 400 up to 1200, and it looks like each pack coming with 20 sheets of that. Looking down here, it looks like it has a sticky back that you can peel off in order to stick it to stuff, like the sandpaper holders here, which are also a separate thing as well too. So you've got those, basically just a hard piece of plastic that you stick your sandpaper to make rigid sanding sticks rather than just soft sanding paper like this. Looks like you can also brush them clean with water, or use them for just wet sanding, so you can get them wet and they'll still work wet as well too. That's nice. Got your sandpaper holders. Also super softback sanding sponges. So these would be like your, again, typical sanding sponges, sandpaper sanding sponges like this. A couple different companies also make very similar products. I'm not sure what would really make these too much different, but we'll test them out and find out, of course. The softback sanding sponge here. So I'm guessing these are slightly different. These are super softback sanding sponges, and these are regular softback sanding sponges. So maybe these are just kind of not quite as soft and just kind of somewhere in between, I guess. But yes, these can be great because you can wrap them around curved surfaces. You can use them for getting into some fine details. You can cut these up into smaller pieces for getting into smaller details and things. And these ones as well too, you can clean with a brush, it looks like. So very nice. The metallic multi-purpose knife handle here, this one does look quite nice as well too, because not only is it your blade, the handle for your hobby knife blade, but you can also use this for other different stuff like a saw, chisel and drill as well too, so you can use this kind of for anything, which is nice. So I do think it's a bit annoying having to change out bits. I like having just separate tools. While, you know, having more tools does kind of take up more space, it saves you the trouble from having to switch out. So like if I was doing some scribing and I suddenly needed to drill, I'd have to change out the drill bit or change out the bit on that rather than just grabbing the drill. So convenient, yes, but I don't know, it just kind of depends on your own personal taste. Art knife blades, so you just got your standard kind of packs of blades there for the knife. A mini hand saw, so a few different types of saw attachments for that as well too. What is basically super glue over here, instant adhesive, CA super glue there, and some applicator tips for that, for getting into, again, like the really hard to reach places and things like that. Glue sticks and glue console. This one I'm not too sure about, and I don't think was included in here, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to demonstrate this, but it looks like, as far as I can tell, maybe like non-stick surfaces where the glue won't stick to, so you can use this like for putting glue and use these tools for like getting glue into different areas around your kits and things like that. So that's interesting. Over here we got some tweezers. These look like pretty standard ultra precision tweezers, just very sharp tweezers in a couple different styles there. These look a little bit more interesting though. Anti-static tweezers. I'm not sure if that's just a different type of metal, or I think that's just a different coating on those end parts. I don't think it's like a rubber or anything like that. I don't believe so. I think it's just like a coated metal or something like that for them to be non-static. But these would be really great for picking up tiny little detail parts and waterside decals and stuff. So these ones as well, I don't believe are in, oh, maybe. It looks like I do have one of these included in here as well too. So those actually look quite interesting. I'm quite interested to see what the deal is with those, because I don't think I've ever used anti-static tweezers before. Over here we got the cutting mat, which again just looks, you know, it's just a cutting mat, but you can use the lines on there for cutting your masking tape in different shapes and things like that. So you got some good lines that can be quite useful for that there. It's made up of a few different layers, so it should be self-healing, which is good. So it looks like a, you know, pretty standard but good quality cutting mat. That one as well we'll take a look at here in just a second. Then of course hobby nippers, so you got two different options here for beginners or for entry users there. As it says, you got the side cutters for plastic, which are going to be kind of, I guess, your cheaper, more simple options, and then the design for modelers use here ultra thin blade nippers. So this also includes what I'm guessing is some oil for those to keep them well oiled, and then a little case to cover up the tip of that, so if you're taking these somewhere, you throw them in your backpack or something like that, you don't accidentally snap off the end of those, just throw the little case on there. I think most of the time I would not have a use for that, to be honest, but you know, it's nice to have that included in case, again, if you're on the go or something like that. So there's a little bit about those, so we'll see how those stack up against some other different options. Over here, toolbox. May seem simple, but honestly, I find a toolbox actually quite useful, because I build, you know, mostly here in my office, but I do also build some stuff at home when I'm just like snap building kits for review or whatever. So having a toolbox to take some tools with you when you go somewhere is actually quite nice. It looks like this one, like the longer type, has a little compartment there on the side, which I am guessing, although I'm not sure, I would hope that's the right size, like to fit your like a bottle of glue or something like that right into there. There's no demonstration of that, but we'll see. Over here, the desktop tool bracket is again just a really simple tool stand there for you to be able to put your different tools and stuff into, different tools and brushes and all that. So yeah, it could be quite useful if you have a lot of different stuff there. Mini hammer is another interesting one. I've never seen it before, but basically I'm guessing it's just the equivalent of just like a small like rubber mallet, which yeah, sure could be useful. I guess. Don't think I've ever thought that I wanted to use a hammer, but I don't know. I guess you might find a use for that. Desktop vacuum cleaner. This is something, again, I know that has been made before, so it's not the first time I've ever seen one of these, but this one does look quite nice. It looks, you know, pretty simple design. It's just a like hand one that you just you know, turn it on, move around your desk. It'll just suck up everything. So if you're worried about having a messy desk, it can be good for that. Also, the dust catcher for grinding. So yeah, this one as well too. Just a special suction fan for when you're working, especially like with resin or something like that. Be good to have if you're not breathing in a bunch of particles. You should be wet sanding for that as well though too though. All right, coloring tools. So here we have the metallic color model pen. So these are just basically like Gundam markers kind of thing, or just paint markers there in some metallic colors. So, but I have seen video demonstration of these and they do look like they are quite nice. So I'll have to give those a try. Also have the lightweight and high precision airbrush there, so available in 0.3 and 0.2 for if you wanted a little bit more precision with your painting, so that's nice. I wonder if they're planning on releasing a 0.5 as well too for like larger application stuff, but at least 0.3 is pretty standard. 0.2 is getting smaller, so if you use that for like really small applications, painting minis or something like that, it could be quite good for that. So there's a little bit about the airbrush. Looks like a pretty standard, like gravity-fed dual action type airbrush, but yeah, looks pretty cool. Over here, another airbrush. This is a 0.3. It looks like maybe just kind of a more simple version. I would make it like a kind of for beginner to airbrush. So if you're not wanting to spend quite as much, maybe there's another option there for that. Mini desktop pump, so it'd just be like a mini compressor for your airbrush. Not really recommended. These work, you know, if you're not doing a lot of airbrushing, but if you're doing a lot of airbrushing, I would recommend probably getting something a little bit more. But as I said, I've never used this particular one. I just know in general, mini compressors, not really the best option, but they certainly can work. Here's a shaker as well too. That's interesting. Another product I never would have thought I needed, but you know, there it is. That's something, a shaker. So a shake for shaking your paint bottles. That's interesting. So, I mean, you know, if it's a small, relatively cheap thing that doesn't take up a whole lot of space, yeah, sure, why not? All right, then we've got the high output desktop pumps. This is gonna be kind of your more standard compressor, it looks like. So it looks like, I'm guessing this would be the dust trap or moisture trap there, your pressure gauge, so you got all that. And I'm guessing this is a tank underneath, even though it's in this like square housing. Usually it's in this housing which looks more like this. Is kind of your standard one, but they've kind of reimagined it into this like block design, which I gotta say is quite nice. I mean, it certainly looks, you know, different from other compressors, but again, I didn't get that, so I can't demonstrate it for you guys. But maybe in the future, if they're willing to send me one to try, I would love to try that and let you guys know my thoughts on that, how that compares to some other different options that I've used before. All right, so we got masking tape. Again, that's pretty standard. We've got that available from 6mm up to 24mm, so you got lots of different options there for that. A needle cap, so some different needle caps for your airbrush in case you want to do different style of brushing. With that, engineering amateur joint set, so there'd be an adjustment gauge there for the hose of your airbrush. Model special spraying clamp, and then model special spraying clamp soft. So these would be rigid ones. These would be like where the stick is a softer type, so you can bend that, I guess, probably. Or, okay, no, sorry, just the end is soft. So if you want to clamp onto parts that you don't want to scratch the paint on or something, for example, you don't want to scratch the part with like the kind of sometimes a little bit sharp teeth on the alligator clips, you've got that. All right, so anyway, apron, which is quite nice. I wish it would have sent me one of those. That's pretty cool. I like that, but that was unfortunately not included. Coloring station here, which is just your kind of stand for your alligator clips. And then paint and related products. So of course they make paint here as well too. Here's a look. It looks like I think the company's, because it's pretty new, there's not a ton of paint options available, but it looks like you got some pretty standard colors there, as well as primer and top coat, I'm guessing is what some of those are there in the back. So here's a look at these: glossy white, black, red, orange, blue, green, yellow, red, pink, gloss top coat, semi-gloss top coat, flat top coats, light gray primer, medium gray, dark gray primer there. So yeah, pretty standard range. And special colors are here. Also, there are some more over here. These look pretty nice. Some different special colors there. And then also Surfacer Evo, so some other different colors or other different types of surfacer there. Some clear colors as well as metallic colors and special metallic colors, and a spare bottle for model paint in case you want to mix your own. You can just toss them in spare bottles. Also got thinner, tool thinner, premium hand wash, model decals here, which do look to be all original designs, so that's cool. So volume 1 of model decals, and it looks like those are available in a few different colors, and also some like glow in the dark or UV reactive ones. I think those are just UV reactive. Volume 2, so there's a look at some of those. Volume 3, and MHG 01, C01, C02, oh, and then volume 4 over here as well too. So they did send a couple of decals, but not a whole lot. We'll try those out anyway. Model decal storage book, so that's what we have there in the box. And UV flashlights, I could definitely use one of those as well too. Copper rod, could always use more of that. That's always great to see. So you got that in 0.5 up to 3mm for some copper rods. And magnets as well too, also quite useful. So there you go, magnets, and since 2018 to the future. So actually been around a little bit more than I thought. I did not know about this company until just recently. Over here in the new products, I know this is already going on quite long, just going through the book of what's all available. I'm sorry guys, but it looks like basically just some more kind of new stuff, maybe some new addition or some new changes made to the dust collector and the mini desktop vacuum there. We also got a multifunctional moisturizing color palette. So there you go, color palette. I actually could definitely use that, so that'll actually probably come in handy. A wash-free airbrush, which is basically just a siphon-fed airbrush system there, but it looks like there's going to be something that will allow you to not have to clean between changing the colors, so that looks pretty interesting. Carbon fiber sanding paper holder, portable compressor. This is kind of interesting that you just plug this into the bottom of your airbrush instead of plugging it into a compressor, and you can just use it just like right there as it is. That'll be interesting to try out if I have the opportunity. Super metallic color marker, this one is also included, so I'll try a couple of these out. It's basically just like a chrome. You can paint chrome out of the Gundam marker, so those look pretty cool based on the demonstration that I've seen of those. Water paint marker, so again just more paint markers. The nippers there and the knife set. Easy cutting, here it looks basically like it's a big sheet of photo etch, but you just use that to cut your masking tape. So you place the masking tape on there and you just let your knife follow the groove of the photo etch part there to cut out strips of masking tape. So these I've seen are quite useful actually. Carving guide tape here again is just tape for scribing, so just thicker kind of it's like kind of soft plastic tape basically that you use for guides for scribing, and then model cement there as well too. Always useful. Alright, so let's get into checking out some of the actual products now. So these are the Super Softback Sanding Sponge and the Softback Sanding Sponge. I'm interested to see what the difference is between these. So these are 400 to 600 and 600. Let's just do a comparison between the two of these. First of all, I will say I do like the product design of these. The packaging's pretty nice. So obviously you can see there's a size difference straight away between the two of those, with the super softback ones being larger. So I don't know if that's maybe the thing of what makes them super, is just the fact they're larger. This one is 400, 600, but definitely I can feel this is a little bit more rigid. The super softback is very much more softer, so this is just like on a just completely sponge material. This one is a little bit more rigid, so it's kind of in between, but anyway, the sandpaper looks nice. I mean, it's just sandpaper. I can definitely tell just by a touch that this one is a little bit more coarse, as it's 400, 600, and this is just straight up 600, so I can feel the difference between those. I've also got the sandpaper here, so again we'll try out the 600, and these have like the box top where you could like just rip this off and then have the whole top of the box off and then just keeping the whole bottom half, which could be good for storing these in an easy way, so you can have like the top of the box off for easy access while keeping everything then like still contained mostly in the box. Just for storage, so that's actually quite nice. So just sanding paper on the front, on the back side is just the peel away sticker, which you can then use to stick these onto somewhere. Now it does say the grit printed on there, but as you can see, like this piece, it's kind of cut off, so I actually can't see that. Let's try to see if a different piece, if it's easier to see. So you can know, I'm sure these are color coded as well too. So there you can see P600, it's printed backwards, so I'm guessing this is just going to be on the back of here. There you go, it's just on the back of the paper like that. Which, if you're using these, the 2mm hardcore type sandpaper, so these would be this just very hard 2mm thick sandpaper holder. Again, nice packaging for this. I like the design, and it looks like, you know, pretty simple. Let's go ahead and open these up. Okay. This is actually pretty cool. So yeah, this is like a carbon fiber. So I'm not sure how well you guys can hear, but yeah, it sounds like metal, very thin metal anyway. Then in here you do also have a set of stickers. So you stick the sandpaper on one side, and then on the other side you stick one of these stickers so that you can know what the grit is. So just in case I don't forget, I want to remember that this is 600 grit, I just take one of our 600 stickers here, go ahead and just stick it right onto the back. And you've got 3 different sizes of these. Although size-wise it does not match up with the size of the sanding paper, I guess, so you can then like wrap the sides if you like. So actually I'm stupid. I forgot. Yeah, there's 3 different sizes. So the larger size one is the same size as the sanding paper, so that'll work for that. Also, this would be the same size as the soft type sanding sponge as well too, but these aren't adhesive, though I think if you just had a piece of double-sided tape, just stick a piece of double-sided tape on there, and you could stick that right onto there as well too if you wanted to stick your soft type sanding sponge onto here. So that's pretty cool. And I just wanted to confirm if these were color coded or not, but it looks like they're not. So this is the 800, but it's in the same purple color as the 600, unfortunately. And the 1000, I'm guessing this is not going to be gold. Yeah, these are also in purple, so that's a little bit of a miss. I would say it would be much better if they could color code these. Then, you know, you can do away with the whole numbering system. You can just, if you can remember the color of each one, but at least you can tell they're different grits just based on the color. So something that I would recommend them to do in the future. Here's a look at the 4 different decal sheets I've got here. MHG01, 01, they're basically just in different colors. So this is the UV reactive orange and dark gray, pure white, pure gray, pure like dark gray, and then white and orange. So these are all the same set, just in a few different colors. And if we get up real close on that, you can see the printing quality actually is quite nice. When you get down to like the really super tiny text, then it's going to become illegible, but most of the larger size text or medium sized text is pretty legible and does look quite sharp. So those actually look pretty good. All right, then let's check out the tweezers, which tweezers for me always are kind of like, it's tweezers. I don't know what you're really going to do, you know, as far as like innovation of tweezers, but I don't know, the anti-static ones, like I said, do seem kind of interesting. So these would be the standard type ones, which are quite sharp, as you can see there, and they do have this little rubber grip on the side, so that's nice, so very easy to grip them. But otherwise, I mean, they're pretty standard, just straight, super sharp tweezers. Personally, for me, I like the ones that have a little bit of a bend at the end of them. I don't always really use the straight on. I have some, but I don't usually grab for them. Like I said, what I'm much more interested here is the anti-static ones, to see what these are like. So we get nice packaging though on these. I mean, just the boxes themselves, simple and look nice. They give you some basic instructions here on the back, but again, it's all in Chinese there, unfortunately. So these, let's see here, have a little band at the end. And yeah, it's just kind of a coated metal or something, or is that plastic even? Okay, yeah, so it's plastic. That's how they're anti-static. So it's just plastic piece at the end, but it's sharp. But I wonder how well it's going to hold up over time. So they're not going to be quite as sharp because they're plastic. They're not going to be coming to a super sharp point there. But again, for certain instances, you might find that to be more beneficial for them to not be super duper sharp. Once again, these have a rubber grip here on the side for comfort. But yeah, I've never used plastic tweezers like that before, so I'll be interested to try those out. Also, I like having some sort of cap or something for the tweezers. I usually use that. Maybe some people don't. You might just store it like that as it is, but I like to keep the cap on my tweezers when I'm not using them. So for these not to include a cap and just have this little band, which I'm surely going to either lose or break or something along the way, I wish that these would also come with some sort of cap, even though they're not as sharp, and like the point of the cap is just to protect the sharp point. These don't really necessarily need that. Also would maybe have been nice if that was included as well too. Alright, then the hobby knife with what looks like a cap and then a set of blades in here as well too. Once again, on the back you just have a little explanation about that. The blade container basically looks very similar to like the Tamiya one, for example. But not exactly the same, it's just kind of similar in shape. It actually works a little bit differently. It has a little cap that you can open up like that. So your new blades will be there, and then once you're done, you just pop the old blade down into there, and this side that kind of seems like you maybe could open it, but it's not really meant to be open, I guess, it just stays closed. So your used blades, just throw them into there so they're safe and protected. Otherwise, I mean, if you just throw your spare blades or your leftover, or I guess you'd say used blades, into the trash, then, you know, you don't want to stab yourself by, I don't know why you'd reach in the trash, but I don't know, for whatever reason. Throwing them in here is very safe, and you close that back up and it closes up both sides of that. So pretty nice little container there for that. The cap over the end of that feels very tight, as it doesn't really go very far down onto that at all. So I feel like that might come off if it doesn't go very far down on there. If you just kind of pop it on there quickly, it seems like you could kind of just as quickly pop that off of there. But just simple kind of cap for that, which does have a little kind of, it's not like a pen clip. Normally like a pen, you could like clip that onto your shirt pocket or something, whatever, right? It looks like that, but it's not. It's just a raised detail, which would be coming in handy so that it doesn't roll off your desk or something. So that's quite useful. Otherwise, the main handle just is all metal here, and it does have a really nice weight to it. So it's not super long, but it's got a good weight and feel to it. You just open this up. Okay, so you can loosen that and then pop the end out. And then I'm not sure what the maximum size you're going to be able to fit in there, but I don't think you're going to be able to fit anything too large in there as far as like a drill bit, but anything like a blade or something, or like a saw blade, will fit in there fine. And you can then tighten this back up. And honestly, I don't know if it's just because mine's new, so it's still kind of tight, but kind of having a little bit hard time getting the knife blade into there, which I don't really like messing around with a sharp, tiny little knife blade. Also because there doesn't really seem to be an exact point of where this should go in. So like I've got it in there, but I don't know if I need to try to push it in a little bit more, or exactly where that's supposed to sit in there. But let me just go ahead and tighten that back up, and we'll see if that just kind of sorts itself out. So tighten it back up anyway. I mean, it's in there perfectly fine. It's just a little bit awkward. It's not necessarily what I'm used to. and I have no doubt that that's quite sharp. Also, obviously you don't want it sticking out too much so that when you put the cap on, it's sticking into the top of the cap and it's not even close, so that's perfectly fine there for that. So interesting. Speaking of, let's take a look here at this next thing, which is a model sanding dust removal mat. So basically like a black cloth with that printed on there. So you're sanding using your sanding stick or sanding sponge, whatever, and you want to just get some dust off there. You wipe it off on this mat instead of on your pants like I normally do. So this is something I guess you could just sit in your lap or just next to you while you're working, and yeah, it's just this thing which kind of seems like a bag. It seems like it's like a pillowcase sort of like little thing, but it doesn't actually have a zipper or open up or anything like that. It's just this kind of interesting cloth. So yeah, I'll try this out, because I certainly do plenty of sanding and stuff while just preparing kits for painting and all that. So I'll just kind of have this on my desk for a while, trying this out, and then I'll give you guys an update later on after like a month's use or something like that and see how it's holding up, how much I like it, but that's kind of interesting. Next up here we have the sandpaper holder shelf, which I don't believe was in the product book, interestingly enough. This is just some pieces of what looks like plastic here. I'm guessing that you then just assemble to this little rack for holding your sanding paper, so that looks like it could be quite useful. And put together, there it is. So just simple like that. Sits there on your desk, and this should work, I would assume, for your sanding sponges as well too. So like I was saying, you can just rip off the top of that and just have these right in there for easy access. And you can also stick your sanding sticks in there as well too, like that. So yeah, definitely could be quite handy for just keeping things organized. You have to keep it out somewhere, which I prefer to keep everything like put away when not in use, but if you're going to be using this stuff quite often, that could be quite useful, yeah. Alright, then the cutting mat. This is A4 size. I'm not sure if they have other sizes available, but I believe this is the only one just based off of what I saw in the manual anyway. But it is double-sided, so you got black on this side with brown striping, and on the other side beige with black striping. And it is quite thick, as they were showing off in the book, that it's a pretty thick one, as you've got like the full like self-healing mat like on both sides of this. So, and it looks like both sides are also different, so for different applications, cutting angles, also cutting tiny little triangles or hexagonal shapes or strips like that. You can use this side, or for cutting circle bits, you can use this side for all sorts of different curved shapes. So for cutting masking tape, I mean, just for a regular cutting mat, of course, it's fine. You also have rulers there on the side as well too, in centimeters. Of course, yeah, it's all centimeters, so sorry for those of you guys in the US, just have to get used to using centimeters. But yeah, well, you can just use it for just a standard cutting mat. This is, I think, going to be most useful for cutting masking tape, actually, so it can be very good for that. Then our decal binder here, which is going to have to be folded, and I'm not sure how well it's going to keep its shape. I might have to find a heavy kit or something to set on top of this for a while. But how many pages does this have anyway? So we just bend the spine of this to get it closed. And actually, it's fine. Yeah, once you bend that, I mean, it's still kind of popping open a little bit, but I mean, it's just a kind of typical soft binder like this, so that's pretty normal. And it looks like we've got space in here for 40 sheets of decals of this smaller size. So if you're using this size, which is not, I mean, this is kind of standard size, not only used by this company, but a lot of companies use this particular size of decals, so this could be quite useful for that. I actually just recently bought a couple of very similar things like this just from Daiso, like from the dollar store, for keeping my decals in, so I actually have plenty of storage space for my decals already, but I'll try this one out as well too, as I'm always getting more. Okay, so because this video is getting incredibly long, a couple of things here I will save for the next video. The desktop vacuum cleaner here I've got, and I'll try that out in an upcoming video where I've got a mess to clean up, so we can actually put that to some good use and try that out in a demonstration. Also the nippers, we got both type nippers. I'll do a demonstration video on those for you guys in a separate video. And then also the super metallic color marker. These are the ones that paint in like chrome. It's like liquid chrome on your kits, and I've got one here in just like chrome silver and then gold as well too. So we'll do a demonstration of those separately as well too. Last thing that we'll talk about in this video, the last thing I'll show you is the desktop tool bracket, which I'm guessing is in black, so maybe it's available in a couple different colors because that black sticker on there, I'm guessing that means that this is in black. So this one as well, obviously going to be some assembly required, although nothing too complicated I would assume. Alright, there it is. So it only took a couple minutes to put together. You have little soft pads on the bottom to keep it kind of anti-stick, and nice matte finish on the top. I was taking off the packaging and noticing it's glossy, and I was thinking, I don't really like that. But actually the glossy side is the bottom, the top is all matte finish, so that's really nice. You have a little key here, your little Allen wrench for doing all the screws, but yeah, like I said, it only takes a couple minutes to put together. You have the nice black and red color scheme for that, and it's not too huge, pretty small, low profile, but it has a lot of holes in there, obviously, for storing all sorts of different stuff, like, so for example, your tools there and your nippers. You can store it in there like that, for example, and all sorts of different stuff. So I do like that it's just right, the perfect size for their handle here, which does fit into there. Now I just need like 10 more of those to fit into there. But yeah, very cool. I actually not really always a fan of these, but this one does actually look quite nice. I do think I'll probably will end up using this quite often. It can also be good like just for storage of your Gundam markers. Yeah, we have the super metallic markers we'll use for it there. Should be a nice little organizer. Alright guys, wow, so we've got lots of stuff to play around with. Thank you so much for sticking with me through a little bit long video here, going through a bunch of this stuff, but I wanted to share with you guys everything that they sent me because they were so kind there at Hobby Mio and very generous to send me a whole bunch of stuff to play around with and test out and share with you guys. So hopefully you found this video informative. I know right now it's basically just kind of introducing all the tools and supplies and stuff, and you see more of these in use in upcoming videos, so just watch out for those. Like I said, we still have to try out the nippers, the dust removal little vacuum guy, and the chrome paint pens, which look very cool as well too. So lots more Hobby Mio stuff to come probably in future videos, and you know, if they send any of the other stuff, as we saw in the book that they sent, the catalog, there's a lot of stuff that they didn't send as well too. So if they send any more in the future, obviously we'll share that with you guys at that point as well too. But for now, lots of cool stuff to check out, guys. I mean, some standard tools, you know, standard things, sandpaper, nippers, tweezers, kind of that you can get from any company, but then some other a lot more specialized things as well too. So there's definitely quite a wide range among the products that they're making. It's quite interesting, so definitely some products to look out for. First impression, I gotta say the quality looks very nice. I can say that it doesn't look like just like really super cheap, just like pumped out stuff. It looks like the products are designed from people who are actually into modeling, which is great. So designed by modelers for modelers is always the best. So I'm looking forward to trying out some of that stuff and sharing that with you guys. Also checking out the kit that they sent, looks very cool. So I'll be working on that straight away, and I'll let you guys know my thoughts on that very soon. But for now, if you guys have any other further questions or comments, of course, about this stuff, do feel free to ask me down in the comment section below. Obviously, it's a new company for me, so I'm not that familiar with them or their products quite yet. But you know, if you have questions that I can't answer, I can always get in touch with them and get back to you, or you know, try to answer that as best I can for you guys. But for now, again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you again to Hobby Mio for reaching out and sending me a bunch of awesome stuff to test out and try and play around with. So until next time, guys, thank you so much for your support, and I'll see y'all later. Have a good one. Bye, guys.